this is your room. What do you think?
It's perfect.
Okay, good.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 psychological thriller The Housemaid. The film is directed by Paul Feig and it stars Sydney Sweeney, Amanda Seyfried and Brandon Sklenar. I probably pronounced that incorrectly. Right, okay. The film focuses on Sydney Sweeney's character, Millie. Now, Millie is, at the beginning of this film, interviewed for the job of a housemaid at Nina Winchester's house, played by Amanda Seyfried. She doesn't think she's going to get the job because she thinks as soon as she does a background check on her, that's it. Because she has quite the background, Sydney Sweeney's character. She's been in jail for 10 years for manslaughter. And she's basically living in a car and she's on parole. However, to her surprise, she is offered the position. However, as soon as she starts, she is introduced to her Nina's husband, Andrew, played by Brandon Sklenar. But almost immediately, Nina, the wife, becomes very, very hostile towards Millie, Sydney Sweeney's character. Incredibly hostile and really cold, makes false allegations about her and treats her essentially like dirt. However, Millie has to essentially put up with this because she really does need this job. She needs to be able to prove to the parole board that she can hold down a job, maintain a residence, so on and so forth. So she really just puts up with a lot of crap from her. However, as this escalates, things really start getting out of hand and take a really sinister and dark turn. Right, what are my thoughts on The Housemaid? Well, I will be honest with you guys, I really didn't have any intention of checking this film out. You know, when you see a film advertised starring Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried, I always never know how to pronounce her name. You know, I don't generally pile that at the top of my list. And on the surface of it, you know, from the things that I'd seen and what have you, it looked like another, almost like A Hand That Rocks the Cradle type movie. And I've just seen the remake of that, you know, a couple of months ago, and that was pretty terrible. So, I wasn't really in the mood for checking this one out. But then I started hearing some really, really good stuff about this film. I started hearing about these great twists in there, and, you know, great performances and, you know, things that you don't expect. These are all the things that I look for in a good thriller. So I took the plunge, and I'm happy to say, guys, I'm really glad I did. This is a really, really excellent film. It's well made. I mean, we can almost, I think, forgive Paul Feig now for his terrible Ghostbusters reboot, can we? If this is the kind of film that he can give us, I'm happy to forgive him. Because, you know, it is really brilliantly constructed, this film. Really very, very well. It's got really top-notch performances by everybody. Now, I'll be the first to admit that, you know, Sydney Sweeney, she's not really my cup of tea in regards to acting. I understand that, you know, she's the next big thing in Hollywood. I understand that Hollywood is pushing her massively to make her the next big star. That's either going to work or it's going to backfire. At the minute, if she, I think if she continues to make films like this, and that other horror that she made, not last year or the year before, where she's that nun, where I thought she was really good in that. She makes films like that and she makes the correct choices, you know, and, you know, she proves to everybody, as she does in this, that this girl can act, then, you know, I will very soon become a big fan of Sydney Sweeney. I think she's getting pushed a little bit too much. I think she or somebody needs to maybe calm down a little bit with her and help her make the right choices. But there's a huge amount of potential there with this young actress, and I think this is a really fantastic performance by her. as it is as well by Amanda Seyfried, who plays Nina. This unhinged performance by her. And I didn't expect it. Going into this film, like I say, I'd not really watched any reviews or anything like that. So I didn't know anything about this film, and I recommend anybody that's going to see this, probably don't watch a great deal of reviews, don't read up on any spoilers or anything like this. You really do need to go into this blind to get the full effect of all the things that happen in like the final act type of thing. But she gives, Amanda Seyfried gives a fantastic performance here. Again, another actress that I've not particularly been that fussed about. I think I was probably scarred from Mamma Mia all them years ago, and I went to the cinema to watch that with my wife. Should I say I was dragged to the cinema to watch that? But no, she really gives a powerhouse performance here. And Brandon Sklenar, many people's tip to be the next Batman, gives a great performance as well. It's a clever performance by him, but it's also pitched just right, his performance. You could argue maybe his character is on a different kind of journey from the other ones, but thinking about it, actually, no, they're all on their own character arcs, on their own journeys, and the characters that you meet at the beginning of the film are not necessarily the characters they are at the end of the film, is all I'm going to say, because when this film opens its curtains to the final act and everything is revealed, it'll kind of take you by surprise. It is not what you expect it to be, this film. It flips it on its head, and it really works for the film. Sometimes these things can overextend their expectations, maybe the filmmakers now and again, but it really worked for this. Now, I am aware that this is as well based on an international bestseller. I've not read the book. I don't know how close it is to the book, but I suspect, fans of the book will hopefully enjoy this. I thought it was a good thriller, and there's not a huge amount of good or even great thrillers out there. We don't get enough of them. When you get one that works, as this one does, there can be some of the most satisfying films that you'll watch. Unfortunately, far too many thrillers that I watch and review on the channel are tame in comparison. What you really want from a good thriller is edge of the seat stuff, to keep you guessing and to kind of make you kind of cringe in your chair now and again at some of the things that's going on in the film. You get all of that with this film, guys. I was deeply impressed with this one. Strongly recommend it. Give this one a go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you've already seen it. And I will, of course, be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.